Controversy is brewing in Tucson, Arizona, where two schools will take grant money from a group with ties to the Muslim Brotherhood. Joining us now for Fair and Balanced Debate are radio show hosts Leslie Marshall and Chris Plant. Welcome to you both.
Hey, Shannon.
Good morning.
All right, now, Chris, this money is going to be used in classrooms where they're teaching Arabic. Isn't that a skill we would like some American kids to develop? What's wrong with that?
Sure, nothing wrong with that. I assume we're taking money from the Chinese government in classrooms where they're teaching Chinese and on and on. Since when did the United States become such a third world basket case that we're accepting a few $100,000 from outside sources so we can fund our educational system? It's absurd just on that level alone. But then we're talking about the Muslim Brotherhood, or an affiliated organization, being behind the funding. And the Muslim Brotherhood is, of course, the granddaddy of all the radical Islamic organizations. They're the group that assassinated Anwar Sadat. Forget about what you've been reading in the New York Times about them recently. Their leaders actually mentored Osama bin Laden and Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the current head of al-Qaeda. Ayman al-Zawahiri is a longtime Egyptian Muslim Brotherhood member. They have an agenda. It is to spread Sharia law, and there's no motivation for them to give money to a Tucson school district if it were not for advancing their agenda. Obviously, it's about that.
Leslie, I'll give you a chance to respond. I don't know where to start. Chris put a lot out there.
Actually, Chris said a lot, but Chris, I love when you just give me some tennis balls right over the net. So let's go. First of all, you know, I was told that I am related to Kevin Bacon by 6 degrees of separation, but I won't be doing the footloose dance anytime soon. We're not talking about the Muslim Brotherhood writing a check. We're talking about a man who actually a few years ago did the very same thing in Harlem, and I didn't hear any outrage from anybody on the right, including you, Chris, about that. It's been a very successful program. Shannon makes an excellent point. After 9/11, do you know 1 or 2 of the Americans we sent overseas could speak Arabic? We need more Arabic speakers and understanding of Arabic studies, Arabic culture, the Muslim world, and Arabic nations. In addition to that, the other tennis ball that you gave me was that so that's first. Second, China. Yes, China, Zionist organizations. There are numerous people that are linked to other organizations that have their own agendas that have given money to schools. And let me answer the question, why does America need it? Because, Chris, you and your buddies always cut education every time you get a chance. You know, here in Los Angeles, we have to sell cookies and cakes and have bake sales to buy pencils and to buy backpacks for our kids. We're crying out loud in our public school system. So I think that we do need money for education in America. Wow. And I think Tucson did what most people would do, which is welcome it with open arms.
All right, Chris, I know you're chomping at the bit, but I want to have you both react to something. This comes from a member of the Tucson Unified School District Board, Mark Steegman, I think, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. He says, as far as I can tell, the money comes with no strings attached. There are people we wouldn't want to take money from. That would be case by case. The main issue is what we can do with the money. We get lots of money from different foundations, including American foundations that fund all kinds of things. I don't know what they're funding.
I don't know what they're funding. Wonderful. Also, yes, you're right, Leslie. They did fund a program in Harlem, too. And why did they choose this school district? It's a school district that was in the news a while back for teaching a very radical sort of reconquista, Southwestern America as occupied territory, creating disgruntled feelings among the populace in the school system there. They pretended that they're occupied. They have conferences with Palestinians there because some of the more radical teachers want to pretend that the Southwestern United States is actually Mexican territory that's being illegally occupied by the United States of America. Why else would they choose this school district? It's the only reason it was in the news. And why Harlem? Indeed, that's a good question. I don't think that Zionist organizations have the same agenda that the Muslim Brotherhood has, that radical Islam has. We've heard from spokesmen with this organization that they're clearly anti-capitalist. They have another system in mind for a monetary system and an economic system that conforms with Islam. Look, they have an agenda, and you know what? We'll take money wherever we can get it because we're crying poor mouth, and we're still playing that bumper sticker of the we've got to have bake sales while the Pentagon buys bombers. I mean, really, honestly, it's 2013. Let's catch up here. And radical Islam is not some benign little thing. In Northern Virginia, we had an Islamic school where they were teaching in the textbooks that Jews are descendant from monkeys and the rest of the infidels are descendant from pigs, and that Islam is superior and that eventually Allah will point out the Jew hiding behind the rock. This is in the textbooks. Now, that was a Wahhabi school, but radical Islam pretty much peddles the same message everywhere they go. And honestly, you're just perfectly happy to accept outside funding of our school systems for programs because we're so poor? Really? Honestly? That's where we are in America today?
All right, Leslie, quick final word to you.
The Blue Horizon schools, which are Muslim-based and are not teaching radical Islam, are some of the highest rated schools in the United States of America. 1. 2. They are not teaching radical Islam, nor have they in Harlem, nor are they in Tucson, if you look at the curriculum of the Harlem school. And what this can actually do, Chris, is it can provide opportunities for kids to learn a language that's different than what we're being taught. Most kids in school are being taught Spanish and French and now Chinese and Japanese. And it's going to be able to give them job opportunities and a better understanding. I lived in Israel in 1996, and I can tell you I've been to some Zionist meetings where the words were, get rid of the Palestinians, and I quote, by any means necessary. So I think any group that is radical, whether they have the name Islam after it or not, is dangerous. Any group that is radical. I don't think it is radical to provide money for education to expand the horizons and the knowledge, because knowledge is power, of our children in the United States, in Tucson or otherwise.
All right, Leslie and Chris, I hate that we're out of time. You guys are great debaters. Thank you so much both for joining us
Thanks,
today, and we'll keep an eye on the story. Thank you.
Thanks, Shannon.